Well guys, this is harder than I thought. But we do have the wall done, and if you go back to the last video, I put 2 coats of Kills number 3 primer on here. I let that dry for a couple days, and then I came back over everything with 1 coat of Glidden's barn and fence paint that I got from Walmart, and it looks great. It came out exactly how I wanted it. All of the ridges or all of the valleys and crevices and everything of the OSB are filled in with primer, and then the top coat kind of filled them in a little bit more, so you get some visual texture and you can feel it a little bit, but it's smooth. It's not rough to your hand. Now I still have a couple things I want to do, and that's clean up around these supports right here. I want to put a piece of OSB there that's painted white and kind of trim that out and do that for 5 of them. But the thing I'm struggling with today is how I want my workbenches set up. And when we built what we call the mega shed out here, it's 44 by 55, but 11 feet of that 55 is this porch. And here in North Florida, it gets real warm in the summer, actually hot in the summer, and humid. And we have spray foam the inside of the shed, but that doesn't keep it cool. That just keeps it from being an oven, but it still gets pretty warm in there. So what we found is even if it's 100 degrees out here, there's usually a breeze here, and if you work under this porch, it's tolerable. It's not cool by any means, but it's tolerable. So the way I want my workshop set up is when I want to be able to work on this porch. One, in the summertime when it's warm, but also now it's wintertime. You see I'm in a t-shirt, it's about 50 degrees or so, and I just like being outside. So I don't want to be within the walls of the shed all the time. So I'm trying to design that workbench or design my workshop so that my tools are easily brought out here where I want to work. I picked up that 4x8 shelf off of Facebook Marketplace, and that's in the back there, and that room is kind of separate from the rest of the shop. So it's kind of less dust in there. And this is where I do most of my work. Oil changes, working on equipment, woodworking. I set up sawhorses and stuff out here, and everything's been kind of in a transitory nature because I don't have everything set up optimally yet, but I'm getting there. And that's part of what this video is about, is how to set up the best workshop. So I got lots of big shelving behind the camera. We have 2 solid or 2 full 4x8 pallet racks with 3 shelves each, and then plus the one I showed you in the little room over there. So that's where I want to put stuff that I don't need to get to all the time. And then I have 2 husky shelves over here that are 2 foot by 7 or 8 foot tall. So I got a lot of storage space back there, but what I'm trying to do is optimize where my tools are so that I can get them out here to work. So I recently put together this DeWalt bench, and let me tell you, man, that thing came in like 100 different pieces. And I think that this is where I want to have the tools that I use the most. Right here by the opening, they're up high where I can get to them. The tools that I use all the time. And then I have another little shelf that was given to us by a company that produces tractor products. But that shelf is just for like consumables, things like screws and Hornet spray and just things like that. Things that I know that I'll use often, but they're not necessarily tools. So now here's where the hard part comes in. So we got the toilet room back here. We're getting a door this week for that. So that's gonna be closed in. That's all painted. I just gotta hook up the toilet, put a couple shelves in there, and then the shower will get a curtain. So this corner is kind of set, but I still have some room from here to that bench. I think we're gonna put some shelving right here. This will be a stationary workbench. It doesn't have wheels on it. I built this myself a couple years ago with a friend, and it was in my workshop back at the other house. And it's got 3/4 inch plywood and stuff on it, so it's pretty sturdy. So a good place to store bulky tools, and then a workspace here up top. I do want more order to my life with tools, but I kind of like them spread out so that they're easy to get to. And I'm very good about, if I take this hammer from here and go use it, I'll put it back right here and that's just the way I am. So leave a comment down below. Are you the type that wants to have this perfect shop? Now, I want to have a perfect shop as far as the infrastructure, like that wall I put a lot of time into. But getting back to the organization of my shed, that's kind of what I want, is working benches, not pristine show benches. So as you see this in the future on my videos, you'll see that I'm organized, but I'm not overly organized when it comes to tools. So again, stationary bench. This bench, I think it's going to be more of a woodworking type of bench, maybe have my woodworking tools on it. It's on casters, so I can roll that out if I need it, but have like my chop saw so that it's ready, and just general woodworking tools like clamps and stuff, table saw and a chop saw or a miter saw, and a drill press, and I guess that's wood and steel working. So anyway, mobile table here more towards the front, and then the stainless steel table that's mobile here, and then I can just move that wherever I need it because that will have my everyday tools on it, and then a rolling toolbox here as well. So anyhow, that's what I'm thinking. But let's put together these shelves and see how they look next to this bench. They're the simple teardrop shape type of angle iron frame. So let me get this put together and get it in place, and we'll see if it works in what I think will be an optimal shelving and workbench solution for that wall. Even though it's only 4 uprights, it's just really hard to get it square and really hard to get these little brackets seated for the shelves. And when I say really hard, you can't do it by hand. You got to go ahead and tap them in with a hammer. And they recommend a rubber mallet, but I don't care if I scratch the paint. So this is 5 shelves. I think it's 4 foot wide by 24 inch deep. It says each one of these shelves can hold 800 pounds evenly distributed. Now it flexes a little because it's just particle board here. But 800 pounds is a lot. I mean, that's like 4 of me on each shelf. 800 pounds per shelf with 5 shelves. 4,000 pounds. My excavator weighs 6,300 pounds. Don't think I'm going to make that video. Will these shelves hold up my excavator? Not going to do it. So easy. Caveman could do it. All right, all together, let's push it in place right next to that window. Okay, that's how that's going to be, and I think that looks good. Got a room to put things on that shelf that I might need on my workbench. I like it. What do you think? All right, here's what I came up with. Let me know. You like it? I thought it came out great. I had another one of those shelves in the box, so I put that together. I didn't film it because you've already seen it once and I didn't want to bore you. But what I felt was I got this window right here. I got an outlet there. I got an outlet there that I can put a multiplexer or whatever it's called here, an outlet multiplier. And I can do work here, and I can have whatever work is associated with here on these shelves, as well as additional storage. And then coming down here on the woodworking bench, I've got a shelf that I could have woodworking associated stuff with on this bench, and it has a couple outlets here, and there's still room on the end for the rolling stainless steel table. And I gotta say, once I got it done and took a step back, I was just really, really happy with it. So as you come in the shop, you'll see here's my stainless table, and that'll go over there. And now we have the 2 different workbenches, and because they're a different height, it kind of helps blend that in better. And to me, it just gave a lot of balance and a lot of purpose to the design. And I'm having an absolute blast with this. I was kind of dreading it because I didn't want to put together something that I didn't like in haste because I need storage space as we move from the other house over to here. And I didn't want to have to redo it again. I wanted to get it right the first time. I've had those shelves on a shelf in a box for a couple years. And today I put it together, and in my opinion, it came together great. I actually added some man decoration to the shop here. So these here are my 2 best deer that I've killed in Florida, or that I've killed anywhere as far as whitetails. I remember that hunt vividly. All of these, what's called skull mounts or European mounts. I remember each one of them. I could tell you a story of each one of them. And the bobcat, actually Deb wanted that mounted. I believe in predator control, so if I see a coyote or a bobcat, I'll take it out just to balance out the predator population so that things like turkey and quail can survive, and rabbits, because they are they're a wild game that you can hunt and that you can eat. And I just try to balance out the predator population where I can. So when I took that bobcat, I was sitting in my stand and the bobcat came down the trail. He was right there. I could see him. And I texted Deb and I was like, I just took out a bobcat. And she goes, oh man, where are you going to get it mounted? And I just thought I would tell her that I got one. And it's just a predator to me. So it's like a coyote. I'm not going to mount a coyote. But that one trigger pull cost me $650 because she wanted it mounted. And it was actually in our living room. But for now, I made it a shelf to put it up there just so I can look at it and remember that day as well. The other thing that we've got is, maybe you can see it over here, but on top I've got red and blue PEX, 3/4 PEX, and that's fully charged with water. So I want to run that down the side of the shop up high where that shelf is, and then run it outside so that I have hot and cold water outside. I'm going to process meat or process chickens or something. I want to have hot and cold running water. So I got to run that PEX along the top above the white OSB. But let's put this shelf up here now. I took this off of my old garage or my old workshop, and I'm repurposing everything. These are 1x12 boards, #1 pine. They're very expensive, and so everything I can take off of my existing garage and build out this shed, I can do. So all this stuff here, it's fairly cheap. This whole workbench system, I don't know what these cost. They weren't very expensive though, or else I wouldn't have bought them. And I'm saving, I mean, literally thousands of dollars from buying like a DeWalt system by building my own couple of benches and getting these cheaper shelves and repurposing these shelf boards. Remember we said 800 pounds a shelf? And I decided, rather than storing stuff up here, like tools, that I would put up some things that meant something to me. So I had a couple more European mounts, and this is the oldest deer that I ever killed. It was probably a 7.5-year-old. I hunted him for 3 years and finally got him. Not much of a rack. It was only a 7-point, but kind of thick for Florida. So I went ahead and had a European mount made out of him. But growing up, I was a big duck hunter. I just loved it. That's all I thought about. So I have some decoys that mean something to me, some that my dad has made and my mom has painted. They're over in the farmhouse. But just real quick, a rundown, that mallard decoy there, I found with our grandson a couple weeks ago. It's a plastic decoy. It has no value at all, you know, maybe $5, $10. But it fell out of a duck hunter's boat in front of Piney Grove, and it was laying in the ditch. And we were driving, just having some fun in the Heisen side-by-side, and I saw it alongside the road in the ditch. And he didn't know what it was. He doesn't know anything about hunting. So I grabbed it. So that means something to me. I found that with my grandson. That's a herder's bluebill and herder's balsa wood canvasback. The big thing about canvasback with me is when we were growing up, we weren't allowed to shoot them because they were endangered, not endangered, but protected. And then one year we could shoot one, but there were always a big, beautiful duck that decoyed well, and we couldn't shoot them. This I got from eBay. It's actually from Canada. Again, no personal meaning, but I think it's a cool decoy, hand carved, probably 60, 70 years old. I made this decoy when I was a kid, 16 years old or so, and I actually used it to hunt over. And it's got my dad's initials in it because my dad had a branding iron, and everything he had, he'd put his initials, the EDB, in. So everything in his shop, like you see everything in the shop, if it was my dad's, it would have EDB on it somewhere. But the bottom of this decoy is made from a boat I found washed up, an old wooden boat. So it's cedar on the bottom because the boat was rotten. So I took some of the good cedar boards. And then the body's made from a balsa wood Coast Guard raft. So the Coast Guard way back when used to have these rafts, and they were balsa wood. Now they've gone to styrofoam. We actually have a styrofoam one we're going to put in the pond. And the balsa wood, we would find these things or buy them, or however my dad would get them. And we'd make decoys out of them because balsa wood is a good thing to make decoys out of. And then the head is made out of like landscaping timber, a pine landscaping timber. So I rough cut the head, and my dad was good with detail. So made this, and I actually shot ducks over this. And this one, again, isn't one that is from my family, but it's called a wildfowler. And wildfowler made decoys back in the 40s to the 60s or so. And my dad had a rig of wildfowler decoys, and I have a couple. One time I was duck hunting, or I had been duck hunting, and I didn't tie the boat up correctly that night to hunt the next morning, and a storm blew in, and the boat went sideways in the storm and tipped over, and the motor went underwater and all that stuff. But anyhow, it was full of these expensive wooden wildfowler decoys that were basically antiques that I was hunting with. So I spent the rest of the day, after I got the motor running again and got the boat bailed out, I spent the rest of that cold day, a northeast wind blowing, going up and down the shoreline trying to find all of my dad's wildfowler decoys. So wildfowler will always mean something to me, and I have one of them up here. We're not completely done. I still got to put more shelves and stuff up, but I don't have any more of that shelving material that's of the right size. So I need to go buy some more of that. I've got plenty of hardware and stuff to put it up and plenty of brackets. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. Is this a workable solution for a workbench? Would this work for you? What would you do differently? Maybe you don't care about deer and ducks, but every time I come in here and work, which will be every day because I just love to piddle around in the shop, I'll see these things and remember them and remember the hunt. That'll wrap it up for today's video. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care, y'all.